Stop scrolling if your bank account hits zero before the month even ends. You aren't bad with money, you just have a leak you haven't found yet. Today we're stopping the bleed. I'm showing you why you're actually broke and the dead simple fix you can start right now. Let's get it.
Welcome to The Explainer. You know, if you've ever looked at your bank account just a few days after payday and felt that familiar, heavy stress right in your chest because there is barely enough left to make it to the end of the month, well, I really want you to know you are absolutely not alone. Managing a low income, it often feels like a magic trick where the money just vanishes into thin air. But today, we're going to break down exactly how you can take control of your financial journey step by clear step, using some of the most essential budgeting strategies from top financial experts.
Okay, let's dive into this. Because that sinking feeling of staring at your screen and asking, where did it all go? That is exactly what we're going to fix today. We pay rents, we buy some groceries, cover the bills, maybe have a couple of small treats, and suddenly the well is completely dry. It feels overwhelming, and honestly, it's so easy to start believing that budgeting is a luxury, something that's only reserved for people with a ton of money. But the truth is actually the exact opposite.
I absolutely love this quote from Dave Ramsey. A budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. It just completely reframes how we think about our money, right? A budget is not a set of punishing restrictions. Think of it more like a magical map. And honestly, a vital lifeline. When you're managing a low income, telling your money exactly what to do is what builds that financial stability, bit by bit. It empowers you. So here is our roadmap. We're going to tackle the vanishing paycheck problem, find your real numbers, pick a budgeting method that fits your life, prepare for the unexpected, build some simple saving habits, and finally review and adjust. By the end of this, you'll have a clear, calming path forward to relieve all that financial stress.
All right, step 1. The vanishing paycheck problem.
It is incredibly easy for untracked, variable expenses to just eat up a tight income without us even noticing. We all tend to underestimate how much we're really spending on those daily conveniences. Extra trips to the store, quick meals out. When your income is tight, giving every single dollar a job is the absolute ultimate tool for turning things around. This is often called zero-based budgeting. Basically, it means budgeting all the way down to zero. Every dollar you earn gets a very specific purpose, whether it's covering an essential expense, paying off a debt, or going straight into savings. Because when you leave money unassigned, it tends to just disappear without a trace. Telling your money what to do, literally down to the last zero, gives you total control over your financial freedom.
Moving on to step 2. Find your real numbers.
For any budget to actually work, it has to be based on reality, not just optimistic guesses. To find those true numbers, you've got to track your actual expenses for a few weeks, from your rent all the way down to your morning coffee. This gives you a brutally honest picture of your spending habits. And once you see that reality, this brilliant Warren Buffett quote, "Do not save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving," really illustrates the massive mindset shift we need to make. We have to prioritize our future first. Instead of just hoping there's something left over at the end of the month to tuck away, you make saving a non-negotiable line item right at the start.
Once you've actually seen your tracked numbers, you have to ruthlessly separate your true needs from your wants. Needs are your baseline, essential survival costs: rent, utilities, basic groceries. Wants, on the other hand, are those flexible lifestyle choices, like eating out, new gadgets, or that $5 daily latte. Now, it can be really tough to be honest with yourself about what is actually a need, but clearly contrasting these two categories, that is exactly how beginners find the wiggle room to make meaningful spending cuts.
Okay, step 3. Pick your budgeting method.
Now that you have your real numbers, it's time to choose how you're actually gonna manage them. And listen, there is no single right way to budget. Personal finance is deeply personal. But if you're just starting out, 2 beginner-friendly tools really stand out. The first is the 50-30-20 rule. This percentage-based budget is just incredibly simple. 50% of your take-home pay goes to necessities. 20% goes to your savings, investments, or debt repayment. And that leaves 30% for your leisure and lifestyle choices. This is a fantastic starting point because it guarantees you're saving 20% of your income while structurally giving you permission for guilt-free leisure spending with that 30% slice.
However, we have to look at this realistically. If you are on a low income, or if high-interest debts are currently eating up a massive chunk of your paycheck, a perfect 50-30-20 split might not be mathematically possible on day one. And that's okay. You might need to temporarily shrink that 30% leisure slice to free up some cash to pay off those debts quickly. Remember, the whole goal here is to free yourself from the burden of monthly interest payments so you can keep way more of your own money.
The second beginner-friendly method is the envelope system, which is also known as cash stuffing. Now, what's really interesting about this concept is that in a world full of digital apps, this old-school tactile method physically prevents you from swiping a debit card into oblivion. You just use labeled envelopes for your variable categories, things like groceries or eating out, and you literally fill them with cash. Here is exactly how you execute it. First, identify the variable expenses that usually break your budget. Food is a huge one for most of us. Second, when you get paid, physically put your budgeted cash into those envelopes. Third, and this is absolutely crucial, when the envelope is empty, you stop spending in that category. Period. No moving money around. Finally, if you do happen to have leftover cash at the end of the month, roll it over to the next month. Rolling over leftover food money creates a nice little buffer, gives you a massive psychological win, and keeps you from feeling discouraged.
Next up, step 4. Prepare for the unexpected.
So, your budget is set. Great. But what happens when life throws a curveball? Irregular expenses like sudden car repairs or medical bills are the #1 thing that derail beginners. The key here is to just start small. You do not need a massive 6-month emergency fund to start protecting yourself. Just setting a highly achievable goal like building a $600 buffer is often enough to handle most minor emergencies. By setting aside just a tiny amount from each paycheck into a separate savings account, you turn what used to be a full-blown financial disaster into a mere inconvenience.
As Zig Ziglar so perfectly put it, success occurs when opportunity meets preparation. Building this small safety net proactively is exactly what separates true financial stability from a constant state of crisis. When you plan for the unexpected, you aren't reacting with panic. You aren't reaching for high-interest credit cards. You are prepared.
Step 5. Simple habits to save more.
Let's look at some rapid-fire, low-barrier actions you can take today to keep costs down without feeling deprived. When your budget is tight, freeing up even an extra $20 or $30 a month makes a massive difference. Just look around your home. Energy costs add up incredibly fast. Switching to a time-of-use electricity plan and monitoring simple things like running your clothes dryer or your dishwasher only during off-peak hours can have a surprisingly tangible impact on a tight budget. And simply unplugging unused electronics, that stops the slow bleed of phantom power that's secretly driving up your bill.
And hey, before you call a professional for a minor household issue, see if you can fix it yourself. I love this quote from Amy Poehler. I think everybody should have to learn to change their own oil and fix a leaky sink. We live in an era with literally endless free online tutorials. Learning a few basic DIY fixes, whether it's a leaky sink or a minor car issue, not only saves you serious money, but it builds incredible self-reliance and confidence. Finally, step 6, review, adjust, and repeat. Setting up your budget on day 1 is just the beginning. The real magic happens when you maintain the system. And let me tell you a secret. Your numbers will not be perfect in month 1. And you know what? That is perfectly fine. A budget is not some set-and-forget rigid cage. It's a living, breathing plan. As you track your progress, you're going to need to adjust. Maybe you underestimated how much gas costs, or maybe you actually need less for groceries than you thought. Normalize failure in those early months. Just give yourself some grace. Tweak your categories as life happens, and keep moving forward instead of getting frustrated and quitting. So you now have the exact blueprint to stop the vanishing paycheck cycle. You know how to track your real numbers, choose a method that actually works for you, build a safety net, and keep your costs down. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought to carry with you today. Your money is ready to work for you. What job will you give your next dollar?
Thank you for staying to the end. If you haven't yet, please give me a like and subscribe. It means the world to me and helps me make more videos. Thank you so much. Goodbye.